The movie opens up with Bear, who returns home to discover his cat Sandy died from eating oxycodone that belonged to his mother, Barbara. Following an emotional breakdown, Bear takes a phone call from his longtime crush, Nikki, in which he learns she is quitting her job at the music store to pursue her dream of becoming a writer. The call ends when Nikki becomes upset after dropping her crystal necklace down a drain. Bear goes to the Green Man Mystical shop to purchase a replacement necklace as a surprise gift for Nikki. Bear instead ends up buying a one-wish willow, a novelty item that supposedly grants its user one wish after breaking it in half. The store's clerk, Viola, vaguely warns that some customers come back complaining about the results of their wish.
Bear, Nikki, Ian, and Sarah attend trivia together at Barker's Pub. Partly due to repeated interruptions, Bear is unable to reveal his feelings to Nikki. When Ian and Sarah agree to go to karaoke together after trivia, Bear takes the opportunity to drive Nikki back to her house. During their drive, Bear and Nikki engage in a conversation that is intimate, but also indicative that Nikki only sees Bear as a friend. Nikki asks if Bear and Sarah might be interested in each other. Nikki invites Bear to directly admit if he has a romantic interest in her, but Bear chickens out. After Nikki goes inside, Bear pulls out the one-wish willow he forgot to give her. A musical jingle plays when Bear removes the item from its packaging. Bear wishes for Nikki to love him more than anyone in the world and snaps the object in half. Nikki reappears at Bear's car to invite him inside. Nikki claims she needs comfort because her cat just died. Bear reminds Nikki it was his cat who died, prompting momentary confusion. Nikki also elicits sympathy by claiming her estranged father is dying of cancer. Despite unusual behavior that gives the impression of her vaulting between two personalities, Bear agrees to take Nikki back to his house. At her request, Bear gets in his bed to sleep next to Nikki. Bear and Nikki begin making out. Nikki suddenly recoils aggressively when she realizes she and Bear are kissing. Seeing Bear's surprised reaction, Nikki apologizes for scaring him, before having an emotional breakdown. Unable to sleep due to the situation, Bear does a brief online search for information about the one-wish willow. Bear finds conflicting comments claiming the item is both real and a hoax. Bear wakes the next morning to discover Nikki made him breakfast. Bear also finds that Nikki retrieved his dead cat from the trash and created a bizarre memorial with it. At work, Bear excitedly tells Ian that Nikki spent the night at his place. He also recounts how Nikki told him her dad has cancer. Since Bear never actually confessed his true feelings, Ian questions if Bear might have taken advantage of Nikki's emotional state, or if Nikki might have been high on Molly. Nikki strangely stares at them throughout their conversation. Although Ian drives Nikki home after work, Nikki soon returns to Bear's house. Nikki claims her unusual behavior was due to her father's health, as well as her taking MDMA. She and Bear ultimately admit they have mutual feelings for each other. This begins an ongoing, intimate romance that confuses Ian and Sarah. While dining with Nikki at a restaurant, Bear steps away to take a phone call from Ian. Ian tells Bear that his suspicions led him to uncover that Nikki's father is perfectly healthy. Ian also tells Bear that Sarah told him about a private conversation she had, where Nikki confessed she merely thought of Bear like a brother and wanted him in the friend zone. Ian warns that something doesn't seem right with Nikki or her intentions. Bear returns to the table. Professing her love for him, Nikki gifts Bear with a tiger's eye stone that belonged to her mother. Bear asks Nikki for the truth about her father. Nikki throws a bizarre public tantrum until Bear calms her. The two of them return home and have sex. Bear wakes that night to find Nikki watching him sleep from the corner. Nikki continues behaving oddly while crying that Bear doesn't love her as much as she loves him. Nikki's sudden screams further alarm Bear.
Bear wakes to see that Nicky cut his hair while he slept. When he leaves for work, Bear discovers Nicky duct-taped the front door shut to keep him inside. Bear exits anyway as Nicky stands in one place, smiling strangely, before peeing on the floor.
On their lunch break, Bear eats a sandwich Nicky prepared for him while having a conversation with Sarah. Sarah casually mentions Ian is hosting a party. She also questions the unusual nature of Bear and Nicky's sudden relationship. Bear comforts Sarah when her father Carter hands her another art school rejection letter. Bear then vomits after a note reveals he has been eating meat Nicky made from his dead cat.
Bear gives Ian a ride home. Ian questions how Nicky seemingly went from needing psychological help to Bear now claiming everything is fine. Bear questions why he and Nicky weren't invited to Ian's party. Ian responds that the optics are bad because it looks like Bear is taking advantage of Nicky's unhealthy emotional state. Ian challenges Bear to attend his party alone to see how Nicky handles being separated from Bear for just one activity.
Once he is alone, Bear calls the customer service number on the back of the One Wish Willow box. The mysterious representative explains there is no way to alter or cancel a wish, and the only way to release Nicky is for Bear to die. The rep also asks if Bear wants to talk to Nicky. Bear hears pained screaming before abruptly ending the call. Bear goes inside his house to find Nicky still standing where he left her, but she is now covered in vomit and feces from having never moved. Shocked to see her condition, Nicky immediately takes a shower. She also reacts angrily when Bear proposes going to Ian's party alone.
To calm her, Bear brings Nicky to Ian's party. During a drinking game, Nicky becomes upset when Bear has to change seats with another guest, moving him away from her. In addition to other odd behavior, Nicky recites a strange love poem about Bear. As part of the game, Bear is given an instruction to kiss Sarah. With a disturbing frown, Nicky pulls away Sarah to take her place and kiss Bear instead. Nicky publicly professes her deep love for Bear, unsettling everyone. Nicky suddenly recoils from Bear, screams, "It's not me!" and repeatedly bashes an object into her face, causing bloody gashes.
Back at home, Bear tries reasoning with an apologetic Nicky. Nicky weeps loudly when Bear proposes spending time apart. Bear asks her to just be Nicky again, prompting her to scream, "I can't be Nicky!" Nicky's strange physical actions frighten Bear. Nicky also insinuates she might kill herself if she has to sleep in Bear's bed alone. Sarah texts Bear during the night to insist he meet her in the park to talk. Parked in her car, Sarah again questions what is really going on with Nicky. She also breaks Ian's confidence by revealing Nicky and Ian used to casually hook up, and Ian now wonders if Nicky is dating Bear to get back at him. Sarah and Bear bond as she passes him an envelope from Luther Art School, which later reveals Sarah was finally accepted for admission, and mentions how they almost kissed at Ian's party. Nicky suddenly shatters Sarah's car window, quickly puts a brick on the steering wheel, and violently smashes Sarah's face into it until half of her skull breaks apart. With Bear in shock, Nicky attempts to comfort him while insisting he must help dispose of Sarah's dead body so they can still be together. After helping Nicky handle the bloody corpse, Bear returns to the store where he bought the One Wish Willow. Reacting to Bear's manic behavior, a different clerk, Harry, explains a person can only make a wish one time, and if Bear wants to undo his, he has to get someone else to wish that for him. Bear buys the last 3 One Wish Willows. Despite Harry telling him he couldn't, Bear tries snapping one of the sticks, only to confirm it won't break in his hands. Bear rushes to Ian and frantically tries to explain how the One Wish Willow caused the situation with Nicky. Bear hands a One Wish Willow to Ian and begs him to ask for his wish to be undone. Disbelieving Bear's seemingly crazy claim,
Ian instead wishes for $1 billion. Bundles of cash immediately begin raining from Ian's ceiling. Bear returns home to find Sarah's naked corpse slumped in a chair. Wearing Sarah's clothes and hair, and having drawn Sarah's tattoos on her body, a bloody Nikki confronts Bear with accusatory screaming. Ian interrupts to exclaim that his money is real. Nikki suddenly shoots Ian dead with a handgun.
After Nikki again professes her undying love for him, Bear locks himself in the bathroom. Bear prepares to kill himself with the handgun, but he is unable to pull the trigger. Instead, Bear ingests a fatal amount of the oxycodone that killed his cat. Shortly after swallowing the pills, Bear has second thoughts and moves to induce vomiting. Before he can vomit, Bear hears the telltale jingle of a One-Wish Willow package being opened in the other room. With Nikki having wished for Bear to love her, Bear eagerly returns to the living room to happily reunite with Nikki. As they kiss, Bear begins dying from the oxycodone. Sobbing, Nikki cradles Bear while he froths at the mouth. Distraught over his death, Nikki prepares to shoot herself with the gun. However, Bear's death instantly returns Nikki to normal. Nikki breaks down in horror at the shocking carnage surrounding her.
Make sure you like, comment on your thoughts on the recap, and subscribe with the notifications on for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.